have this vivid memory of sitting in the bathtub one time and just crying.
I think I punched my dad once.
You're not in charge of me right now. Like, you just won't leave me alone.
I had an epidural in my back, so I couldn't move very well.
She just wanted me to keep pushing and keep going.
Everybody had one. Like, if you didn't have one, you were looked down upon.
This is a show where teenagers share their experiences growing up in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and this is A Teen's Perspective. Hello and welcome to A Teen's Perspective. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and today I have a great guest for you. I have a 13-year-old who's going to high school pretty soon. So before we welcome her to the show, we have to come up with a name. She is a minor, and I want to hide the identity of the minors. So if you can come up with any type of name, like a superhero's name, which one would you choose?
I would probably choose Quail.
Quail, cool.
Quail or Parakeet, I'm not sure.
Quail or Parakeet. All right, let's go with Quail because that was the first one that you chose. So let's welcome Quail to the show. All right, perfect. So let's start off and let's just allow the audience to get to know you. So can you share with us your upbringing? You know, how were your parents growing up, things like that?
Yeah, so I was born in New York, but then I moved to Texas when I was like around 8 months old. And then I think I grew like a pretty normal childhood. I mean, I think I had my grandparents around to help out. My parents were doctors, so they were pretty busy. And then my brother, well, we had a normal sibling relationship with my brother, like, you know, normal fights, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I went to kindergarten, but then I skipped a grade. And so I went to first grade when I was supposed to go to kindergarten. And then I just went to school. Then I just progressed in school like normal.
Wow. So you say you skipped a grade. How did you do that?
In pre-K, they pretty much taught us a bunch of the skills that you learn in kindergarten. So when you're in kindergarten, I think you just refine those skills. So I think I already had those skills refined enough. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, cool.
And they noticed, and then they gave me this test to take, and then I passed. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Awesome. And you mentioned your brother. Is he older or younger?
He's younger.
And what is the age difference?
We are about 2.5 years apart.
Awesome. So you're heading to high school, and he will be a sixth grader.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So both of you guys are experiencing a transition, huh? You're going to both of new schools.
Most definitely.
Talk to us, because you're just completing middle school. It's been identified that middle school is the most challenging experience for any child. So talk to us and walk us through your experience coming in at sixth grade and now as an eighth grader or leaving eighth grade.
So in sixth grade, the first day, you really don't have to worry about the first day that much because they really do walk you through what you have to do in middle school. And I think it's pretty easy to get used to that schedule. At least it was for me. You're going to get lost at least once. I got lost a little bit, but I think you'll be okay in middle school. You just have to learn how to transition from elementary to middle school. So I think you're fine as long as you just do your work and just relax, do your work, be nice to the teachers, that sort of stuff.
When I talk to kids about middle school, they mentioned that sometimes it could be difficult to find the friend groups and things like that. So share with me your experience with finding friends and any struggles you had with friends.
Definitely. So the friends that I had in middle school mainly were the friends that I had in elementary school, but I was able to get more friends in middle school. But I think it was because we had similar interests and also we were all very talkative people. So I think that was one thing in common that tied us together.
Great. So you were able to find a friend group pretty soon, huh?
Yeah.
And now, did you guys remain friends throughout middle school or?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. You guys have a good little group there.
Well, I did lose some friendships, some just tethered off. But yeah, I was able to keep some of my strongest friendships.
You mentioned that you lost some friends that kind of tethered off. Share with me some of those experiences.
Well, it's not that we ended in a fight. With middle school, you get really busy and sometimes don't have classes together. And so you're not able to communicate that well. And so then you just sort of slip away. You don't become not friends necessarily. You just become not as powerful as friends as you once were.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, being a child of two doctors, share with me what type of pressure that puts on you.
With my two parents being doctors, I mean, like, I grew up like having an interest in medical knowledge. So now I want to be a doctor. So that's something that both parents being doctors have had an impact on. I don't think it affected really my childhood as much, but of course they were busy, but I think like almost every working parent is busy. So yeah, that's the impact on me.
What type of pressure do you feel as far as academics? Because, when you think of medicine, you want to do well, and obviously you have to do well to get to medical school. So what has been your experience?
Well, I'm not sure if I have had pressure because I've always wanted to have good grades. Nothing that I felt in middle school has been new when it came to pressure. So yeah. And especially with my two parents being doctors, like I've always wanted to have good grades in order to go to good schools, in order to get a good job.
Is that something that they just instilled in you at a young age, or you think that you just kind of figured that out yourself as far as this desire to have good grades?
Both, because I saw how hard both of my parents worked, and I wanted to work this hard in order to have like a good life that they have.
That makes sense. Now, do you see the same thing with your brother? Is he just like you as far as wanting to work hard and want to do well?
He definitely wants to work hard, and he's pretty hardworking. So yeah.
Can you share with me the best experience you've had in middle school? What do you remember?
I think my best experience in middle school was, I know this is going to sound cliche, the school dance. I think it was definitely the school dance. I think it was the one in 7th grade because we went with my friends. It was so fun because it was just fun to have your friends around in school while not having to worry about school.
Yeah. And did you guys all dance, or you more like just talk and hang out?
We definitely danced a lot. Yeah, we definitely talked a lot. So yeah, we danced and we talked and we ate pizza and we just had a good time.
Awesome. Now, share with me the opposite of that. What was your worst experience in middle school?
I think it was when I got lost on my first day, actually, because like I was so lost and I didn't know what to do. And like there were some student helpers that were helping the students around, and I felt so lost. And they definitely did help, but I just remember feeling like, how am I going to survive this?
Well, hey, you're doing a great job if that's like the worst experience you've had, just getting lost. So yeah, awesome. Share with me a time when you felt like you didn't understand your parents' decision on something, but now it makes sense.
So when I was little, my mom would always make such a fuss about what I was wearing and stuff like that, especially on school pictures. And so I would sometimes win the fight. She would sometimes win the fight. But like now that I'm looking back on my school pictures, I'm like, what was I thinking? So yeah. But like I now thank my mom for imposing her fashion choices on me.
That's awesome. So who is the more of the disciplinary parent? Is it your mom or dad?
I mean, I think they both have disciplinary things about them, but I'm not sure. I think like they both have an equal amount.
And who do you go to if you want something?
Honestly, it just depends on which mood are they in. Like if my dad's in good mood and my mom's working, I go to my dad. Or if my mom's in a good mood and my dad's working, I go to my mom.
Smart. Now, share with a time where you got in an argument with your parents. Why did you get in an argument, and what was it about?
Yesterday, for the 4th of July thing, I accidentally scared my brother with one of the sparklers and he got pretty mad. So I apologized, but then I tried to show him my side of the story, but then my parents tried to justify my brother's side of the story. And then I thought that they weren't correct when it came to like who was right, who was wrong. But yeah, that was what it was about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. No, that's a good example of how arguments can happen between parents and teenagers.
Yeah, it can come between the dumbest things ever.
Share with me the relationship with your brother. How has changed during these times of COVID?
My brother and I would fight like often enough, but like with COVID, I think like COVID has like pushed us into like one room, like not literally, but like COVID has pushed us into one room. And so like we've had to learn to get to know each other better. So I think quarantine has helped us grow closer because we've been fighting less. We've learned more about each other. And so, yeah, I think quarantine has taken a toll on our relationship in a good way.
Hello, this is Dr. RJ. I hope you are enjoying the show. I just want to encourage you to hang around after the interview. I will be coaching my guest on whichever topic they choose. Life coaching has been proven to increase success and happiness in teenagers. So if you're interested in having a life coach for your teenager, register at www.lifescholarsacademy.com. How does your parents get involved when it comes to arguments between you and your brother?
They normally let us resolve it because we normally come to a good conclusion. So yeah, when it comes to arguments, unless it's serious, our parents don't really get involved.
Okay. And have they noticed that you guys have kind of grown closer during this time?
We live part-time with our grandparents, part-time with our parents because our parents have to work. But I definitely think that our parents have noticed that we fight less.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you live part-time with your grandparents. When did that start? What age?
It started just during quarantine.
Oh, just the quarantine time.
Yeah, just quarantine. Yeah.
And how has that experience been for you guys?
Well, with our grandparents, I've definitely learned how to cook better. But yeah, I think it's helped us grow a closer relationship with our grandparents. Like we always have either a movie night or a game night at the end of the day.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is.
How else has this COVID-19 kind of quarantine impacted you? Because it kind of started before you finished 8th grade. And I know that there's still some questions about what's going to happen for high school. So share with me just your thoughts and feelings around this whole COVID quarantine.
So whenever COVID started, I thought that, oh my God, this is really going to happen. We're not going to have school anymore. I didn't really know what to think when it came to school. I was like, okay, this is happening. I need to learn how to adapt. And so I finished my assignments. Whenever the teachers handed out assignments, they just gave us the assignments and they gave us instructions on how to do it. And so I think the assignments were pretty easy. But when it came to like how COVID impacted our school, I think it definitely derailed the school system, definitely, because sometimes the websites that the teacher provided us would glitch out. And so we couldn't do the assignments and things like that. But with how COVID is going to impact school in the future, I'm not quite sure because I'm not quite sure how school is going to move on. But I think that if school does open to kids, I think we're definitely going to have to social distance, or like half of school is going to come one day and half school is going to come another day or something like that.
Share with us your range of emotions as you're going through all of this from when it first came about in March till now.
In March, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Wow. In April, I was like, okay, I think I'm getting used to this. I'm still kind of confused on how this is going to go forward. May, I was pretty used to it. I knew what I was doing. And then in June, I was like, oh, this is weird. I have no schoolwork. Like, I have nothing to do to keep me busy. So, like, I just started to, I don't know, read books, normal hobbies and sort of stuff to keep me busy. But, like, in June, I think I felt pretty bored in June.
And what kind of conversations did your parents have with you about COVID? Because some kids are struggling during this time with social isolation and things like that. So what did your family or your parents talk to you about?
When it came to COVID, our conversations were basically about like precautions. Like, remember, whenever you go here, make sure to do this or something like that. And also some of our talks were like, we're not sure how this is going to play out. Just we need to make sure that we're strong about this. And we just have to be prepared for whatever COVID hits at us. So, yeah, some of them were hopeful. Some of them were interesting. Some of them were boring. Just normal conversation. Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys have remained pretty positive throughout this entire experience.
We've tried. Yeah.
Let's switch gears and let's talk about the one thing that I hear about in middle school is popularity. So can you share with me about your experience with popularity, any desires of being popular or anything like that?
I've definitely not been the most popular person. Like, people at school know my name and stuff like that. But when it comes to popularity, there have definitely been the really popular girls. And when it comes to popularity in middle school, the popular kids are not necessarily the mean kids. The popular kids are just the kids that have known each other for a long time. They've either had great accomplishments or they're just really well known in the school. And when it comes to popularity, I don't think I've ever wanted to become a quote unquote popular kid, because like all eyes are on them when it comes to middle school and society in middle school. So yeah, I don't think I've ever wanted to become a popular kid, but I've definitely wanted to like be noticed in middle school when it came to society in middle school.
So it sounds like you got what you wanted, because you said everyone knows your name.
Everybody knows everybody's name, but like, I'm not quite sure if that's counted as popular or not.
And what are your thoughts about high school as it relates to the social environment?
Oh, well, I'm not sure what the social environment is high school is, but I think it might be similar to middle school. So if it is similar to middle school, then actually I'm not quite sure what to think about the high school, how popularity is in high school.
What are some of your goals that you're setting for yourself for your freshman year?
Some goals are try not to get lost. I mean, it's a pretty big campus compared to our middle school. So like get good grades, don't get lost. And I don't know, I think I should enjoy myself in high school, because people say that like high school are the best 4 years of your life.
Great. Yeah. Before I let you go, I want you to share with the audience, it sounds like for the most part, you've been a great kid, haven't really gotten in trouble much at all. So why is it that you have made it all the way through middle school without doing anything crazy or getting in trouble? What is it about you or about your parents?
I think it's because I like to help. Like whenever a teacher needs help grading papers or things like that, I like to volunteer because I like to feel good about myself. But I also like to have good grades because, again, I like to feel good about myself. And yeah, that's basically what kept me going through middle school. I just wanted to make sure that I left middle school as a good person.
Got it. And when you noticed other kids doing things they're not supposed to do, what position that kind of puts you in?
Whenever kids did like not necessarily good things, I mainly just tried to ignore what they were doing because I didn't really want to involve myself in whatever they were doing because it might have been private what they were doing, or I just didn't want to get involved.
Can you give us anything that you believe that would help parents understand teenagers in today's world?
Teenagers, we either like to have attention or we like to be left alone. There's a little bit of gray area, but like we're either hands on or hands off when it comes to our emotional range. So I think instead of trying to control your teenager, try to like understand what's going on in their head and see if there's any problems or anything you can help, because like controlling them in a bad way is just going to push them away from you.
When it comes to teenagers, coaching is so effective because we use proven techniques that help teens identify goals and develop actionable plans to achieve them. If you're a parent and you want to learn how to use these coaching techniques to coach your own teen, visit us at coachyourteen.com.
All right, welcome back. We're going to start our coaching segment. So Quell mentioned that she would like to receive some coaching around patience because she's noticing that maybe her impatience is contributing to arguments with her brother. So we're going to do our live coaching segment. I hope parents can stick around and enjoy it. All right, so let's start off with patience. So let's first define patience.
So what I think patience is having the perseverance to either ignore whatever bad people are saying to you, or I think also patience is being able to withstand obstacles in a calm manner.
Okay, perfect. So if you had to rate yourself 1 to 10, and 1 being that you have zero patience, I mean, you're just never patient, and 10 is that you have the most patient of anybody that you know, what number would you give yourself?
I would probably give myself around a 5 or a 6.
A 5 or a 6. And what number would you like to be at?
I would like to be at least an 8.
Okay, let's say we're at a 5. We need to go to an 8. Perfect. So give me an example of a time recently that you lost your patience.
Whenever my brother is annoying me, like most brothers do, whenever he does it enough, I tend to fly off the handles and do some things that I regret. So yeah, that's some of the things that happen.
All right, perfect. So you said when your brother is annoying you or badgering you or doing the things that brothers do, you just kind of lose it.
Mm-hmm. If he does it enough.
Oh, okay. So it's based on how much he does it. So basically you have a tipping point.
Yes.
So do you find that your tipping point is consistent or it just depends on how you're feeling that day?
It definitely depends on how I'm feeling that day, because if my brother is annoying me a lot and it's been a bad day, then yes, I tend to fly off the handle, like I said. And if it's been a good day, then I don't react as bad.
Okay. So it sounds like if it's a good day, you can tolerate more versus when it's a bad day. Why do you think that is the case?
I think it's because at the end of the bad day, I tend to look for sympathy instead of being annoyed. So I think my expectation of sympathy is what makes me really, really angry when it comes to my brother annoying me.
That is awesome that you know that about yourself. You know, many adults do not even know about what they really want. I mean, you know, it's kind of vulnerable to share like, hey, you know, when I'm having a bad day, I actually want some sympathy. You know, most people kind of try to be tough and they actually don't ask for help. But the fact of the matter that you know, that's what I want. I want to be, you know, I want someone to show me sympathy. I want someone to hug me or, you know, make me feel better, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So the question is, what conversations are you having with your brother when you have those bad days?
If he ever annoys me a significant amount, I'm saying like, hey, I've had a really bad day. Do you think you could not today? And usually he just leaves me alone after that. He normally just annoys me just to get my attention because especially during quarantine, he has no one else to turn to when it comes to playing or hanging out. So like he normally annoys me just to get my attention. And so whenever he says like, hey, do you want to play? I sometimes say yes. I sometimes say I'm a little bit busy. And so whenever I say I'm a little bit busy, then he tends to annoy me more to get my attention more. And so then like it's just a bad cycle.
Yeah, it makes sense. 2 things come up for me as a coach. So when I'm hearing you talk, I'm hearing exactly or kind of understanding what you guys are experiencing. There's 2 things that I definitely want to share with you that I believe will help a lot. First, I would like to get your thoughts about what would it look like if whenever you're having a bad day, you're noticing that you're having a bad day, what does it look like to share your experiences with your brother before it gets to the tipping point, like when you're still okay?
I think my brother would be able to understand my day better. And I think what would happen would be like he would have an understanding of my day and say like, okay, she's feeling this. I should probably not do this. And yeah, I think if I tell him before my tipping point, I think he would understand.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing, you know, that you should try is to go ahead and let him know ahead of time. Right. And along with letting him know, I think is also a cool thing that you should share with them whenever you guys are not upset at each other, is to actually share what you share with me. To say, listen, when I'm having a bad day, I actually want sympathy, because maybe he doesn't know that. And, you know, especially if he's wanting attention, that may be a way of him getting attention is by showing you sympathy.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think that's a great conversation. Now, the second thing I want to share with you is super important because, as you know, you can't control people, right? So even if you do that, what you're supposed to do, if you just say, hey, brother, when I'm having a bad day, I really want sympathy. I know you're doing it for attention, but I want sympathy. And maybe, you know, you get attention by showing me sympathy and we can be together, right? So however you want to do that. And you can say, hey, I'm going to tell him early. So brother, I'm not having a great day right now. Okay. So let's just kind of, you know, let's find other ways to communicate or hang out. And say, for instance, he's having a bad day and he ignores you and he still annoys you. So I have to give you another tip on how to become patient where you won't just lose it. Are you ready for it?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So the reason why you lose it, and you've already told me this, is because you said that your brother is annoying you, right? And it's natural to lose it if someone's annoying you. Because you're telling yourself that he's annoying. This is annoying. This is annoying. And after saying it like 20 times to yourself, you're like, I'm done, right? Imagine if you could change the story you're telling yourself in your mind. Imagine if you were not viewing it as or interpreting his actions as being annoying. Imagine if you can interpret his actions as something else that will not make you upset, right? Like, in fact, you just said that ultimately, I know deep down, he really wants attention. So imagine instead of saying, you're annoying, you said, actually showing your brother sympathy in a sense of like, he just wants attention. He really just wants attention. He's not trying to hurt me. He's not being mean. He really just want to be around me. And actually makes me feel good, the fact that my brother actually wants to hang out with me. Most brothers don't want to hang out with, their siblings. And so by changing the way you interpret an action will change how you feel about that. So my question for you is, what are some ways you can start to interpret his actions?
So like, if he's ever annoying me, like you said, I just need to give him the attention or just give him a little sympathy or just give him the attention that he wants. And instead of like letting him continue to annoy me, and then I just fly off the handle. And like, I guess whenever he wants to hang out or do something like that, I guess I have to learn how to make time for him instead of just continuing on saying that I'm busy or something like that.
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying that every single time you're going to be able to make time. You may be really, truly busy, but what it comes down to is how you view it. So in other words, try to remove annoying out of your vocabulary as it relates to your brother, because words have power, right? So by you viewing an action of his as annoying, someone else can look at it, like your parents, and may view it as like, oh, hey, he just want to hang out with you, right? So there's no like fact or no standard of annoyance that we all can say, yep, that is annoying. Everything is not annoying to everybody, right? So if it's possible that you can maybe remove annoying from your vocabulary, and every single time your brother is trying to do something, you think to yourself, he just wants to hang out with me. He likes being with me. I'm a fun person, right? When you start to think that every single time he has an action that you're calling annoying, you start to feel better about yourself. You'll be happier and you won't lose it so quickly. In any relationship, it always comes down to communication. So whenever you guys are happy, this would be a great conversation to say, hey, when I'm having a bad day, just know I want sympathy. But on the other end of things, what's a good way that you can share with me that you want to hang out with me? How would you like me to communicate to you that I am extremely busy and I would love to hang out with you and I have so much fun with you, but at this moment, I just really can't because this has to get done. How can I communicate that to you? And the more you guys have those conversations, the better the relationship's going to be.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you think that's going to help?
Definitely.
All right. We're perfect. Well, thank you for your time and thank you for bringing that up so we can do coaching together.
Thank you for the advice.
I hope you enjoy listening to the group coaching session. And I also hope that you are able to learn something that would help strengthen the relationship between you and your teenager. Until next time, this is A Teen's Perspective, helping parents see the future. Today's episode is brought to you by the Life Scholars Academy, where teenagers reach their full potential. At the Life Scholars Academy, teenagers and young adults experience life coaching and personal development as they pursue their goals. If you are ready for your teenager to experience higher levels of success and happiness, then join the Life Scholars Academy. You may sign up at www.lifescholarsacademy.com.